Hello. I cannot believe it's been a month since I last recorded my video, and that was December, that was the end of the year, and it has been a few weeks and very monumentally healing few weeks since then. I was inspired to record a video today, but I wanted to be very intentional. So I really asked myself, what is it that I want to share today? What is it that I want to talk about? And the answer that came to me was intentions and healing. I have spoken about separation and healing in the past. And it is amazing how much progress you make as a human being just within a short span when you're actually inspired to make progress and heal. And every year when the year begins, a lot of us set goals. We write down goals. I used to do that a lot. I used to write down goals, and I used to be, I don't know, it's not that I would make a plan to follow the goals, but I would write them down, and I would want them to manifest some way, and I would work towards them. But this year I decided to not write any goals, especially after last year, which has been a really long, tough year for me, where I kind of just unraveled, if that's the right word to say, if I can admit that. But I did unravel, and I did go through a lot of thought processes that were spiraling and that had a monumentally bad impact on my relationships, on my loved ones. And today, as I look back to it, I just realized that all I really want is to heal from it. All I really want is to overcome that and not become that version of Romana again. And so I did. In the last few weeks, I started working towards that consciously, intentionally. And instead of setting goals for this year, I set myself intentions for this year. And I tried to keep it simple. And I have two intentions. The first intention is to not disrespect the God within me or within anybody else. I don't want to disrespect the God within anyone. And that starts with my own self. First, you don't disrespect the God within yourself, and that's how you stop to disrespect the God within anybody else. And my second intention is to be, which is very repetitive to say, but it's to be very intentional with what I am doing with myself, with my life, with my agency. And that's helping me kind of become a little bit more slow in my pace of trying to achieve things, or trying to achieve anything. Basically, it's this the moment I kind of set that intention that I want to be intentional with what I do, and I don't want to disrespect the God within, it set a motion in me to actually respect the universe and what the universe has in store for me and what it's sending me. And as I'm learning to accept and embrace the universe and what the universe is sending me, I'm learning to let go of control, and just saying that, of like letting go control. It's like if you just close your eyes and say that to yourself, it just does something to your nervous system. Right now, it's really doing wonders to my nervous system. But it's also not easy to let go control if you have been someone who needs control or who has been seeking control. And so I realized that I need to understand my body. I need to understand my nervous system. If I don't understand my nervous system, then I cannot really implement or do it in action what I really wish to, or try to imbibe through words. So I'm reading about my nervous system. I'm reading a book called The Body Keeps the Score. It's a very, very good book. I would recommend it to anybody who wants to understand psychology a little bit more personally, to relate to your own experiences of childhood. So yeah, truly just being intentional and not disrespecting the God in anyone is helping me come closer to the God within. And this month I have also read or I am continuing to read the Bhagavad Gita, and it is a very, very beautiful book. Of course, like any religious book, that you can find things that you want to refute, or you might not believe in, or you might not understand or agree with. But the message of the book and every chapter is very beautiful. It's only teaching you to be more and more in sync and closer to the God within. My favorite chapter is Devotional Service. It's chapter 12. I only recently finished it, and I think it was great. It was very healing to read that chapter, because it kind of instilled that faith back in me in my devotional service. I'm a very devotional person from heart, but because my body has taken in whatever it has taken in terms of trauma and in terms of pain, and it has stored it, there are versions of myself. So in between, I had this coaching session through a mental health app that our company sponsors, and I met with a coach, and I spoke with her about how my heart was feeling empty. So since my last video, I had like this I had this period where my heart felt completely empty of love. There was just like no love within. I couldn't even feel love for my niece, who I love dearly, and that was very scary. And that really like it put me through a phase, a very short phase of like a really dark period, and it like emptied me of everything. And then I suddenly found myself picking myself up again, and slowly finding faith and love again. I witnessed doors that were closed opening again. I witnessed this anguish that was there in me leaving me, and I also witnessed the healing, or the healing journey of the parts of me that have been carrying grief for a really long time. So in that coaching session, we identified that there are two significant past versions of myself. One which is my very early childhood version, which was carrying this kind of anger, or I wouldn't call it jealousy, but this kind of something beautiful that was mine was taken away from me, that kind of a feeling. The child has been holding that. And then there's a significant other past version of myself, which is my young adult version, which completely like rebelled, and she changed, and like she changed in drastic, dramatic ways. So when we identified that, an exercise that my coach gave me, which I actually thankfully did today, is to write a letter to your past self. Is to basically heal and converse with the past self, to let her know that we are no longer in a survival mode. We are no longer in fight or flight. We are safe. We are loved. So I wrote those letters to both those versions today. It's very important to identify these past versions if you want to be intentional with your life, with your time, with your heart, with your energy. Identify the past versions that are holding you back. Identify the past versions that are still staying in you, and they're taking you away from all the joy and all the growth that you are experiencing today, that life is bringing to you. And once we stop going through that cycle of being held captive to our child's mind, or being held captive to our young adult mind, then we start the journey to come closer to our present self. This is me. This is my present self. I am this person. I am an adult. This is my age. This is what I have done in my life so far. This is what I have in my life. This is what I want to do with my life. But as long as you are captive to your child mind, you cannot you cannot really move forward with your present self into your future self. You will always keep going back to your past self. You'll always keep going back to that hurt and that anger and that pain and everything that your body has captured. And it varies in degrees depending on what your trauma is, what is the cause for your trauma. So as you learn to heal yourself, to heal and be more intentional, to learn to not disrespect the god and somebody else, to be more mindful when you're repeating your patterns, when you're being the same, when you're really when you're really not able to feel the heart and the god within, when you're not able to feel that, when you're acting outside of it without the god and the love in your heart, that's when you're behaving from your child's mind. And that is what I learned. And just the knowledge is not enough to implement it, so the implementation takes time. You go through repetitive cycles, you go through more reading, but all in all, I feel good. It is the end of 1 month of this year. It's almost the end of January. And you know what I feel is that this is a good thing. This is a good year. I look forward for this year to be more nurturing, more healing, more grounding. I am a Virgo, so my sun sign is Earth. I am an Earth sign, and I feel like I have contained the fire of so many people as an Earth. I have contained that fire because Earth can contain that fire. It can take that fire and it can keep it in, but and temporarily that part of Earth becomes very barren. The soil becomes barren, but also that is the richest soil. When few years later, this is how the process works, right? Like few years later, that soil becomes the richest soil and it gives the best crop. And I feel like this is the year when that transformation is happening. I can already feel that transformation happening in this month, and I can only hope that this transformation continues. But if you were looking to really bring a change in your life, to change something that has felt so irreversible, unchangeable for like a really long time, then do this exercise. Like, you know, speak with a coach, speak with somebody who's equipped and who is a professional, who's been educated and trained how to do it. I am looking forward to doing this training myself this year, but until I do become a certified coach, I would definitely recommend do go out and meet someone who is a certified coach and talk to them. This is not about getting therapy. This is about getting coaching to go through something that's holding you back. And I'm very excited for the rest of this year. I hope you are too. I do wish a lot of strength, happiness, a lot of great things to happen to you this year, and I do look forward to continuing to share my videos here. Thank you. Thanks for listening. Take care. Bye bye.